This is Week in Esports. I'm your host, Lubu. This is your week in Esports. Couldn't have a better intro than that. Let's talk about esports from the past weekend. Let's talk about League of Legends because I think that's the #1 story in all of journalism right now. Everybody's talking about League of Legends and the meta. The Wall Street Journal, the New York Post, Breitbart, the Guardian, the Weekly World News, they're all talking about League of Legends, so we're going to start by talking about League. Everybody wants to talk about the meta. The meta has changed with 8.11, and it's still changed going into 8.12. Those are the current and future patch for competitive. We're already on 8.12 in the if you're just a regular player. Now, everybody's either upset or fucking loves the new meta, and there's a couple reasons why each group has an opinion, and there's a reason why some people's opinion isn't worth as much. And I'm talking about AD carry players. AD carry players only play one type of character. They don't play fucking anything else. They only play AD carry. They don't, it's not even a lane, okay? Top players play tanks, they play bruisers, they play fighters, they play divers, they play mages, they play assassins. AD carries are only good enough at the game to play one type of character, and that's AD carries. And they're not good at anything else because they're not actually good at strategy. They're just more mechanically inclined than other players. And so those guys get upset when instead of just being able to right-click faster, they actually have to use some degree of mind games or footsies to get a W. This is why people like Faker, who plays every fucking lane and every champion, love this meta. Faker said he loves it. It's got a huge focus on strategy as opposed to laning, which is what I'm talking about. And it's better about people who want to actually compete in a mind game. Whereas people like Doublelift, with no world championships to his belt, say that it's the worst meta ever. Faker, 3 world championships, greatest player of all time, considered by many people. Doublelift, great North American homegrown talent with no world championships. So it's, you know, you gotta weigh those, the scales of justice, where are they, right? But I mean, in my opinion, I think it's the better meta. I think it's great to shake it up. I think it's great to change things. And it's great to force players to play shit that's not what they always play. AD carries used to go mid in Season 1. AD carries are going mid in Season 7 now. AD carries should not be a lane. It should be just a role. And if you're not able to move around that and strategize and be more versatile, then maybe you're just getting moved out of the game. Maybe you're not good enough to keep playing anymore, and maybe you're just like falling off. And it's important that you diversify your shit and you learn how to play other things, because that auto locking I'm ADC or I feed bullshit has got to go. Faker and Faker players and people who want to be like Faker, they're going to be adaptive and they're going to be able to play a lot of things. And people who want to be like Doublelift are going to be left behind. And that's my League of Legends thoughts. Moving on to Dragon Ball FighterZ. Dragon Ball FighterZ is awesome. It's kicking ass and taking names. It chokeslammed Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite off of the goddamn steel cage in 1996. And through a whole table and everything. It's doing really good. And they've got a new tournament coming up. The big Dragon Ball FighterZ tournament for the national level is going to be starting off at CEO next weekend. That's Community Effort Orlando, which I will get to in a minute. Most important is that there's going to be 7 tournaments starting at CEO. And whoever wins each tournament gets a Dragon Ball. Not like a, well, we don't even know if there's a corporeal Dragon Ball, but they get a Dragon Ball in the sense that they have a win. If they have a physical Dragon Ball, that'd be pretty sweet too. But they will be given a Dragon Ball for their win. If a single player is able to win all 7 tournaments, the entire finals format shifts, and it's no longer an 8-man bracket, and instead it's a 1v7 fucking King of the Hill death match. And I think it's the most brilliant shit ever. It's the Cell Saga all over again, with one dude has to be at the top and everybody else has to fight him one at a time. And it's genius. And honestly, we all know that there's only like, currently there's 2 people that could possibly get there. And so we're really excited to see who takes the first one at CEO, who starts their ascension to the top, and if anybody's going to be able to stop them once that momentum gets rolling. So I'm super, super hyped about Dragon Ball FighterZ and having it start next weekend at CEO. Speaking of CEO, Community Effort Orlando, next weekend, That's the big Orlando fighting game tournament. Jabali's big baby. And Jabali has rolled out something amazing this year. It is Jabali's Fried Chicken. Jabali has dedicated himself to a food menu for the first time ever at a fighting game tournament. And I personally, I mean, I'm sure you can imagine, I could not be happier about this. He has his own fried chicken recipe. He's got a whole food menu for the event. He is putting so much effort into one of the biggest complaints at every fucking tournament in the country. Every single tournament other than EVO, because it's in Vegas and you can eat wherever you want. Every tournament in every town, even in Atlanta down at the fucking airport for Final Round, everywhere you go, the food there sucks ass. It's like stadium food. It's expensive, it's dry, it's garbage, but you have no other options, right? And Jabali said, no, we're gonna have real food options for our players and spectators, and that's awesome. I'm so excited. And I expect in 2019 that he is gonna add cooking as one of the competitions at CEO. I guarantee by 2019 he will have an additional tournament and it's just gonna be a cooking tournament and he's gonna be a judge, and this is his end game. That's his ultimate end game. So looking forward to that. That's all I have for this week in esports. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want more Week in Esports, you can go back and look at the old ones, or you can follow us and see me next week for next week's Week in Esports. You can follow me on Twitter at chef_LU_BU, and I'll see you next week. Y'all have a great week.